Imagine walking into an airport, expecting a routine flight, only to be mocked and disrespected because of your accent or appearance. Now, what if the person being mocked wasn't just an ordinary passenger, but the newly appointed CEO of the airline? This is exactly what happened when airline staff at Airline thought they could belittle a black man with a soft Southern accent. Unaware he was silently observing how customers were treated. What unfolded next was nothing short of extraordinary. Swift consequences, corporate reckoning, and a powerful message that changed the company's culture forever. Have you ever felt judged unfairly based on how you look, speak, or where you come from? Share your story in the comments. We want to hear from you. And if you love real-life stories that inspire change and challenge perspectives, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. This story is a must-watch, and you won't believe the CEO's response. Let's dive in. The New York International Airport buzzed with its usual chaos, boarding calls echoing through the terminals, hurried footsteps of travelers, and the steady hum of announcements from the PA system. Amid the crowd stood Marcus Hayes, a tall, well-dressed black man in his early 40s. With a sleek carry-on bag and an air of quiet confidence, Marcus blended in seamlessly with other frequent flyers. His attire, a simple blazer and dark jeans, did little to reveal his true identity. Marcus was the newly appointed CEO of Airline Airlines, one of the country's leading carriers, and he had decided to experience his company's customer service firsthand, incognito and without any special treatment. As he approached the Airline check-in counter, he adjusted his travel documents and waited patiently. Behind the counter were Emma Brown and Ryan Davis, two check-in agents notorious for their dismissive and often rude attitudes toward passengers who they deemed difficult. Their fake smiles faded quickly when Marcus stepped forward. Little did they know, this was no ordinary passenger. They were being observed by the very person who held their futures in his hands. The stage was set for an interaction that would soon unravel their biases and expose their unprofessionalism, setting the tone for a powerful and life-changing series of events. As Marcus Hayes stepped up to the Airline Airlines check-in counter, he greeted the agents politely. "Good afternoon," he said in a calm, confident tone, with a hint of his Southern accent. "I'm flying to Los Angeles today. Can I check in my bag?" Emma Brown, one of the agents, barely looked up as she responded with a forced smile, her disinterest obvious. "Name?" she asked curtly. "Marcus Hayes," he replied, handing over his travel documents. Emma typed his name into the system, but quickly raised an eyebrow and rolled her eyes. "I'm not seeing any reservation under that name," she said flatly, her tone dripping with skepticism. "That's strange," Marcus replied, maintaining his composure. "I booked the flight 2 weeks ago. Could you double-check?" Ryan Davis, the other agent, leaned over and whispered, loud enough for Marcus to hear, "Maybe he's at the wrong airline." Emma chuckled at the remark. "Happens all the time," she added sarcastically. Marcus remained composed, though he could feel the judgment in their voices. "Would you mind checking again? I have my confirmation right here," he said, showing his phone with the booking details. The woman at the till whispered the red hot down, stared into the nose, gazing at each of them. Emma snatched the phone from his hand and inspected it, her movements slow and deliberate, as if doing him a favor. Guess it's here after all," she muttered under her breath, clearly disappointed to have been proven wrong. Ryan smirked and added mockingly, "Next time, try booking online properly. Might save you some trouble." Their quiet laughter rang in Marcus's ears, but he didn't let it faze him. Instead, he calmly asked, "Is there a supervisor I could speak with?" Emma looked up, visibly annoyed. "Why? We already checked you in." "I insist," Marcus said firmly, his tone leaving no room for argument. A few minutes later, Carl Reynolds, the check-in supervisor, arrived. As soon as Carl laid eyes on Marcus, his demeanor shifted instantly. He stiffened, recognizing the new CEO of Airline Airlines. "Mr. Hayes," Carl said, his voice tinged with nervousness, "I wasn't aware you were flying with us today." He extended his hand, which Marcus shook with a polite but measured expression. "Good afternoon, Mr. Reynolds," Marcus greeted. "I've had an interesting check-in." experience. Carl's face paled as he glanced between Marcus and the two agents. "Let's get this sorted out immediately," he said quickly. Marcus, however, wasn't ready to let the incident go without addressing it directly. He gestured toward the counter and said, "Actually, I'd like to have a quick chat right here. Ms. Brown, Mr. Davis, is there anything you'd like to say about how you handled this interaction?" Emma stammered. "We didn't know. We were just trying to follow procedure." "Procedure," Marcus repeated, his tone steady but firm. "Does your procedure involve mocking a customer and refusing proper service?" Ryan attempted to defend himself weakly. "We didn't mean anything by it, just joking around." Marcus turned to Carl. "I'll need a full incident report from both of them. Please ensure they are placed on leave, effective immediately." "Yes, sir," Carl responded without hesitation. Before leaving, Marcus looked back at Emma and Ryan one last time. "Airline Airlines has zero tolerance for discrimination or disrespect toward our passengers. No one deserves to be treated the way I was today, whether they're the CEO or not." The stunned silence at the counter was deafening as Carl escorted Marcus away. Meanwhile, Emma and Ryan stood frozen, their faces pale as the weight of their actions began to sink in. This was not just a bad day at work for them. It was the start of a reckoning that would ripple through the entire company. As Marcus Hayes left the check-in counter with Carl Reynolds, the tension in the air was palpable. Emma and Ryan exchanged nervous glances, realizing the gravity of their actions. Marcus, however, remained calm and composed, his focus not on retaliation, but on ensuring accountability. In a private room near the terminal, Carl nervously fumbled with his clipboard. "Mr. Hayes, I sincerely apologize for what happened back there. This isn't how we conduct business at Airline Airlines." Marcus raised a hand to stop him. "Thank you, Carl, but this isn't about apologies. It's about accountability," he said, his tone steady and deliberate. Turning back toward the counter, Marcus requested, "I need you to prepare an immediate incident report detailing everything that happened. I also expect Miss Brown and Mr. Davis to be placed on leave effective immediately while this is reviewed." Carl nodded quickly. "Absolutely, sir. I'll take care of it right away." As Carl hurried to address the issue, Marcus reflected on what he had witnessed. His face remained calm, but internally he felt a mix of disappointment and determination. This wasn't just an isolated incident. It was a symptom of a larger issue. Hours later, as Marcus arrived at Airline Airlines headquarters in Manhattan, rumors of the airport incident had already begun circulating. Employees whispered anxiously, wondering what their new CEO would do. Marcus called for an emergency company-wide meeting the next day, a decision that sent shockwaves through the organization. The following morning, the company's state-of-the-art auditorium filled with employees from every department. The atmosphere was tense. No one knew exactly why the meeting had been called, but the gravity of the situation was clear. When Marcus stepped onto the stage, his expression was calm but resolute. Adjusting the microphone, he scanned the room, making eye contact with employees who suddenly felt the weight of his presence. "Good morning," Marcus began, his deep voice commanding attention. "I've called this meeting to address a situation that goes against everything Airline Airlines stands for." The room fell silent, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Marcus continued, "Yesterday, at our check-in counter in New York, 2 of our employees displayed behavior that was not only unprofessional, but discriminatory." A murmur rippled through the audience, and Marcus paused to let the words sink in. "What made this incident even more concerning," he said, his voice steady, "is that I was the passenger they disrespected." Gasps echoed across the auditorium as employees exchanged shocked glances. Marcus explained how he had been mocked for his southern accent and treated with disrespect by staff who assumed he was not important. "But this isn't about me being the CEO," he added. "It's about how these employees might have treated countless others when no one important was watching." Marcus's tone shifted to one of determination. Airline Airlines serves passengers from every background, nationality, and culture. Discrimination, whether it's based on appearance, language, or any other factor, has no place here. And let me make one thing clear. Respect isn't optional. It's essential. He gestured toward Carl Reynolds, who stood at the back of the room. "I want to commend Carl for his integrity in reporting the incident immediately and ensuring swift action. This is the kind of leadership we need at every level of our organization." The audience erupted in applause, but Marcus's gaze remained firm. "From this day forward, there will be no room for complacency. We are launching a company-wide initiative on diversity, inclusion, and respect, with mandatory training for every employee, from frontline staff to executive leadership. This is not just about fixing what's broken, it's about creating a culture we can all be proud of." As Marcus concluded, emails confirming the immediate suspension of Emma Brown and Ryan Davis were sent company-wide. Their termination for gross misconduct was imminent, and the employees in the room understood that this was a turning point for Airline Airlines. The meeting wasn't just about one incident, it was a statement of values, and for Marcus, it was the beginning of a cultural shift that would define his leadership and set an example for the entire industry. The mood in Airline Airlines headquarters was tense as employees from all departments filed into the sleek modern auditorium. Whispers filled the air, speculation running wild about the sudden, mandatory meeting called by Marcus Hayes, the new CEO. It wasn't every day that the company's top executive addressed everyone at once, and the buzz surrounding a serious incident at the airport only heightened their anxiety. As the clock struck 9 a.m., the room fell silent. The stage lights illuminated Marcus Hayes as he walked to the podium. His calm yet resolute demeanor immediately commanded attention. Adjusting the microphone, he scanned the crowd, his gaze steady and unwavering. "Good morning," Marcus began, his deep, authoritative voice resonating throughout the hall. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice. I've called this meeting because something happened yesterday that goes against everything Airline Airlines should stand for." The employees sat in rapt attention, hanging on his every word. Marcus paused briefly, letting the weight of his words settle. "Yesterday, at our New York check-in counter, 2 of our employees demonstrated behavior that was both unprofessional and discriminatory," he continued. "What makes this especially troubling is that I was the passenger they mistreated." Gasps rippled through the room. Managers exchanged uneasy glances, while frontline staff squirmed in their seats. Marcus recounted the incident, detailing how he was mocked for his southern accent, questioned about his reservation, and treated as though he didn't belong. "But let me be clear," he said, his tone firm but measured. "This isn't just about how I was treated as CEO. This is about how these employees may have treated countless other passengers who didn't hold positions of power but deserved the same respect I do." The room was completely silent, every word hitting its mark. Marcus then pivoted to address the broader implications. Airline Airlines serves people from every background, every nationality, and every walk of life. It is our responsibility, no, our duty, to ensure that every passenger feels respected, valued, and welcome. Discrimination, whether it's based on appearance, language, or anything else, has no place here. He paused, allowing the message to sink in before continuing. "As CEO, I want to make it unequivocally clear that respect isn't optional, it's essential. And this starts with each and every one of us." Marcus's gaze swept across the auditorium, meeting the eyes of department heads, team leaders, and frontline staff. Leadership isn't about sitting in an office, looking at reports. True leadership is about making sure respect and dignity are shown at every level of this company, even when no one is watching. His words hung in the air for a moment before he moved on to announce concrete steps for change. Effective immediately, we are implementing a company-wide initiative on diversity, inclusion, and respect. This will include mandatory training for every employee, from the front line to the executive leadership team, Marcus said. This isn't just a policy update. This is a cultural shift, one that ensures every person who interacts with Airline Airlines knows that respect is at the core of our values. Applause broke out, though Marcus's expression remained resolute. "I want to thank Carl Reynolds for his integrity in addressing the situation swiftly. His actions demonstrate the kind of leadership Airline Airlines needs to thrive." Marcus then addressed the future of the 2 employees involved. "As for the individuals responsible, They have been placed on immediate suspension pending further review. But let me make this clear. There will be consequences for actions that violate our standards. This isn't about punishment alone. It's about accountability. He ended with a powerful reflection, his voice resonating with conviction. This company has an opportunity to set an example for the entire industry, a chance to lead by demonstrating what true respect and inclusion look like. Let's not waste it. As Marcus stepped back from the podium, the room erupted in applause, not just for his speech, but for the clear and decisive leadership he displayed. Minutes later, an email was sent to all employees, confirming the immediate termination of the two agents for gross misconduct and detailing the new training initiatives. The incident at the airport became a turning point, not only for Marcus Hayes, but for Airline Airlines as a whole. Marcus's commitment to change set a new standard within the company, earning respect from employees and passengers alike. His message resonated far beyond the company walls, sending a powerful signal to the airline industry about the importance of integrity, accountability, and respect. For Marcus, it wasn't just a victory, it was the start of a cultural revolution, ensuring that every person who walked through Aerolink's doors would be treated with the dignity they deserved. The fallout from the incident at the check-in counter was swift and decisive. Samantha Brown and Greg Davis were officially terminated for gross misconduct, their actions serving as a stark reminder of the company's zero-tolerance policy on discrimination and disrespect. An internal memo circulated to all employees outlined the reasons for their dismissal, reinforcing the company's commitment to accountability and transparency. In the days that followed, Airline Airlines announced a sweeping overhaul of its customer service protocols. Under Marcus Hayes' leadership, the airline launched a mandatory company-wide training initiative on diversity, inclusion, and respect. From frontline employees to executive leadership, everyone was required to participate in workshops designed to foster empathy, cultural awareness, and professional conduct. The company also introduced a new passenger feedback system, ensuring that every voice was heard and every concern addressed promptly. The changes were not just procedural, but cultural. Employees began to take pride in representing a company that prioritized respect and inclusivity. Passengers noticed the difference too, with many sharing positive experiences that reflected the new approach. Marcus's leadership didn't just transform Airline Airlines, it set a precedent for the entire airline industry. Marcus's actions sent a powerful message. True leadership means standing up for what is right, even when it's uncomfortable. By addressing discrimination head-on and holding his team accountable, Marcus proved that respect and integrity are not just ideals, they are essential for success. The impact of his bold decisions rippled beyond Airline Airlines, inspiring other companies to re-examine their policies and practices. Marcus's story became a beacon of change, reminding the world that leadership is about more than a title. It's about ensuring dignity and respect at every level, for every person, every time. This story is a powerful reminder of the importance of treating everyone with respect, no matter their background, appearance, or status. Marcus Hayes' actions not only held people accountable, but also sparked meaningful change within an entire organization. It shows us that true leadership isn't about power. It's about setting an example and creating a culture of integrity and respect for all. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced or witnessed discrimination? Or perhaps you've seen an inspiring act of leadership that changed the way people were treated. Share your story in the comments description. We believe everyone's voice matters and can spark meaningful conversations. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and share it with others who might find it inspiring. And if you want more real-life stories that challenge perspectives and inspire change, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Together, let's continue to explore the stories that matter and remind the world that respect and kindness are always the right choice. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.